have it. Petition. Christine Jardine.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I would like to present a petition on the recommendations of the Infected Blood Inquiry on behalf of the residents of my constituency of Edinburgh West. I should say I have a long-standing interest in this, as a friend of my family was one of the early victims of the infected blood scandal, who have suffered as a consequence, along with many families, including those in my constituency, waiting too long for redress. Therefore, the petitioners would request that the House of Commons urges the Government to implement the recommendations in the Second Interim Report of the Infected Blood Inquiry without delay.
Petition. Recommendations of the Infected Blood Inquiry.
Petition. Deirdre Brock.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I rise to present a petition from residents of my constituency, Edinburgh North and Leith, regarding those people who have received infected blood and suffered as a consequence, and who have, along with their families, waited far too long for redress. The petitioners therefore request that the House of Commons urges the Government to implement the recommendations in the Second Interim Report of the Infected Blood Inquiry without delay, and the petitioners remain, etc.
Petition. Recommendations of the Infected Blood Inquiry.
Petition. Stephen Kinnock.
Speaker, I rise to present this petition on behalf of constituents in Aberavon on the same terms as those presented by the honourable members for Newport East and Batley Spen. I also pay tribute to the member for Kingston upon Hull North for her unstinting work in pursuing justice for the victims. My constituent, David Ferrugia, and his siblings lost their father in 1986 after he was given infected blood products. It literally tore their family apart, as the siblings were then split up in the care system. This scandal has caused decades of suffering, health issues, financial loss and stigma for those affected. They've campaigned for justice, but it's taken far too long and is long overdue. Justice must not be delayed any further. The petitioners urge the Government to implement the recommendations of the Second Interim Report without delay.
Petition. Recommendations of the Infected Blood Inquiry.
Petition. Judith Cummings.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I join a number of honourable members in presenting a petition in the same terms on behalf of my constituents in Bradford South, although I know that it reflects feelings which are widespread across the country. The petition reflects concerns across Bradford South that the Government has yet to implement both the final infected blood inquiry recommendations on compensation and the will of this House of Commons, which was expressed on the 4th of December 2023.
Petition. Recommendations of the Infected Blood Inquiry.
Petition. Julian Sturdy.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I, like many others already, rise to present a petition on behalf of my constituents of York Outer who have, alongside their families, suffered directly from the wrongly receiving infected blood and have waited far too long for redress. I pay tribute to my constituents, including Norman, who have signed this petition, and I call on the Government to fully implement the recommendations set out in the Infected Blood Inquiry report, which is due to be published next week. Therefore, the petitioners request that the House of Commons urges the Government to implement the recommendations in the Second Interim Report of the Infected Blood Inquiry without delay, and the petitioners remain, etc., etc.
Petition. Recommendations of the Infected Blood Inquiry.